universe. The universe. Fell in love with the universe. Tapped in with the universe. Had to do it with myself first.
Hey guys, Boardroom Savage here, and I'm back with another one. So, I want to talk a little bit more about Damsel in Distress and Jezebel Spirit and the and toxic femininity, and how this is being mistaken for femininity, right? Because, again, let's do a quick recap. Men are visual creatures, so they like things to smell good, look good, be soft-spoken, be dainty, and be submissive, and okay, babe, and all of those things are associated with femininity, right? But that is not the true meaning of femininity. It's just a characteristic of it. It's just a part of it, okay? True femininity is empathy, okay? Attentiveness, intuition, interdependence, not dependence, okay? Just because she depends on you does not make her feminine and does not make you, this macho masculine. It's interdependence. It's relying on each other. Vulnerability, tenderness, kindness, nurturing, okay? Unfortunately, damsels in distress can play that part because a lot of men need to feel needed. That's you guys think. But if you go back to your childhood, especially ones that had, dysfunctional, toxic, or chaotic childhood, your need to feel needed by a woman is really because you couldn't save your mama when she was going through the things that she was going through while y'all was growing up. So you look for women you can save. Now you Captain Save-A-Hoe, right? And what's dangerous with the damsel in distress is while your ego is being satisfied with being needed, you've picked up a woman with codependency behaviors. And codependency can come emotional, it can be psychological, right? It can be financial. But the codependency is the reliance on your partner. And some men may like codependent women. Why? Because now y'all feel like y'all in control and you can control that situation. And what happens when you get that woman and she's codependent on you financially? Well, if her heart ain't right and her character ain't right and her integrity ain't right, soon as you lose that money, she gonna go to the next dude that got money. And now you want to talk about, oh, she's a gold digger, she's all of these things. Guys, y'all gotta take more accountability for the women that you're choosing. It can't always be the woman's fault. Don't get me wrong, I'm about to get on a forehead too, but right now I'm talking to you guys. Y'all have to have accountability for the women that you're choosing. These women that are baby trapping you, something in your intuition told you that baby wasn't yours, but you decided not to get a paternity test because she acted up and she hooped and she hollered, and now 11 years later, you find out this kid ain't yours and you done invested all this money. You done probably went to jail over child support you should have been paying in the first place because you didn't follow your intuition. And that's why I'm doing a part 2 of this when I'm explaining that men need to also be able to tap into their feminine energy because that's where that intuition helps them. That intuition is not only going to help you in personal relationships, it's going to help you in business relationships. I'm not trying, I guess the best way for me to explain it is this, like guys that's outside, right? Active. If you get an indication in your gut that you're not supposed to do something or to be a certain place and you don't listen and you go and then the club gets shot up. The whole time, if God spared your life, the whole time you driving home, like, man, I felt like I should have stayed in the house. I felt like I shouldn't have made that move. I felt like I shouldn't have went with this person. That's your intuition. That's your gut. That's a part of feminine energy. And being able to balance that out. Like, you have your masculine energy and you too have a feminine energy. You need to know how to balance both of them. You need to know when and where and how to use them. And unfortunately, you guys are getting into relationships and you are picking women off of logic, off of your masculine energy, and you're being used. You're being got. You're being taken advantage of. Because the entire time that y'all getting red flags, that she ain't shit, because she look good, she smell good, and she's saying the right words, and oh, let me make you lunch, and let me cater to you, let me do all of these things for you, and you're like, oh, she's feminine, she's a girly girl. She's setting you up for the okie doke. That's an act. Spiritual confirmation. That's an act. That can be an act. But again, you're ignoring your intuition. You're not, connecting with your subconscious, and you're going off of, well, this is how I feel like a woman should be. You're falling for it. You have to be careful with the damsel in distress. She's always gonna need something. And if your thing is to be Captain Save-A-Hoe, so be it. But what happens when you run out of resources? What happens when you run out of time and energy and you can't give her those things? If she's not self-sufficient within herself, she's going to look to the next man who can provide it. And then you're going to sit there and act like you're a victim and she used me for my money. No, you knew that. Men don't get nice cars because they want them. They get nice cars to attract women. Keep it all the way real. Women, we don't necessarily dress up to get a man. We actually dress up for other women to compliment and to see how we doing, right? Some women do, if that's their thing. Oh Lord, I know this. I know what I'm saying might trigger or might seem, far-fetched. Take what resonates, leave the rest. If this ain't you, don't make it about you. Okay? Go sit down and read the 4 agreements. Okay? Don't take it personal. If this ain't your thing, it ain't your thing. Either you're hanging out with me and you're hearing what I got to say, or you're able to get some insight to what I'm saying, and then it can help you in your situation. So, it's on you. Depends. But again, that damsel in distress, that codependency is good until you can't provide that, right? So if you get into your masculine energy and you're building your empire and you're working, if she's codependent on you emotionally, then she's gonna feel like you're emotionally detached. And then there you go. She's gonna look for it somewhere else. This is why men take it so personal when women cheat. Because when men cheat, you guys can sleep with a woman and have no emotional attachment to them. A woman, if she cheats, it has to be a level of emotional and intimacy there in her heart space to even hear what the guy is saying, to this to click, this to click, this to click, and this to open. And that's why y'all can't get over it when she does cheat and she does do the things that she does. So I'm explaining this to you why you need to beware of damsel in distress, because a lot of times they are unhealed women and they are toxic women, and because they're playing a role in their feminine characteristics and behavior, your logic is taking the face value, and you're going off of that, when internally it feels funny and it feels weird and like, I don't know if I should be rocking with this chick. but your partner says she look good and she cool, let her, that's who you should be with. But if she hasn't done the work to heal and she's always needing you for something, you're only as strong as your weakest link. How's she gonna run your household if she can't run herself? I don't know, it's something to think about. Then we go back to the Jezebel spirit, the manipulation. A lot of women who operate in a Jezebel spirit, what's unfortunate is they don't even know that they're operating in that spirit, because they're only following what they seen their mama do, their grandma do, their sister, their cousins, their aunties, the women in their family. So if the women in their family are unhealed and they're holding that spirit and they teach this to their daughters, right? They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing. And you as a man, if you grew up and you see your mama operate like this, you see your aunties operate like this, you see your girl cousins operate like this, right? This is normal to you. You think that this is normal. It's not normal. Very few, I don't want to say very few, because I'm really doing my best not to generalize, but it takes a lot for a woman to be like, let me sit down and look at me and get my shit together on an internal basis. And when you clean up the internal, your external world is going to reflect this. And then I also want to give y'all food for thought. A lot of crack babies are mothers now. If you know, you know. So the days of Big Mama and your grandma and them, they're going, a lot of lessons are gone with those women. And trust me, I can hear women say, well, they had to stay with Grandpa Jim because they didn't have their finances right and da-da. I hear y'all, ladies. I hear y'all. But there was certain things that we did learn from our grandmothers and those women from that era and that generation who taught us how to be women and how to deal with our men and how to run our household. And when the 80s came and crack came and an entire generation of men and women were wiped out, that mother that was on crack basically had kids, and them kids had to raise themselves. So when you look at the toxicity that's in these single parent households and with these mothers, you can really go back to the 80s and look at how that shit started, because there was nobody to show women how to be women. And the women that did come out and speak out and say, this is how you be a woman, this is how you be feminine, this is how you run your household, this is how you handle yourself, you get labeled as being a pick-me. You get labeled as, ain't nobody gonna tell me how I'm a woman and how I should be. And then the other side is you have men that's going to continuously get God. Because you're looking at your mama, how your mama is to you and how she is as a woman is two different things. And you're going to have to learn how to separate your mama from the woman that she is. Your mom is your favorite girl, like the OJ said, but she might be a toxic, unhealed woman. And now you go out and you're getting with women who are toxic and unhealed. And you're subconsciously picking these women. You're not even realizing you're picking these women. Or I won't say you're picking them, you're attracting them to you. You're attracting them. You're bringing them in. You're bringing in all these needy women that's constantly asking you for money and they need you. And some men feel like they got the power, and yeah, I need to be needed, but that's your ego. That's an unhealed portion of yourself. There's some women that need help, and if that's your If that's your woman and you want to help her, that's one thing. But let me tell you something. If y'all dating and y'all just dating, she should be woman enough that she could pay her own bills and take care of herself. Now, if she needs help and that's your girl and y'all in a relationship, help your girl. Don't be an asshole. But if she's relying on you for her Maslow's hierarchy, the things that she should be able to contain within herself, yeah, that's a needy bitch. That's codependency. And eventually it's going to wear you out, because in the beginning it's going to feel good because you feel like you're the king of your domain and you feel like, hey, this is, I'm a man, hear me roar, but that shit gets taxing. And then when you ready to leave because she can't take care of herself, or she don't want to take care of herself, because there's women out there that be having straight degrees and good jobs, and when they get married or they get with their man, they quit their shit or they lose their shit suddenly, and then now they are 100% relying on you for their lifestyle. And the moment you can't provide it, it's a problem in your household. I don't know. This is just something I'm putting out there. Your woman is your helpmate. She's supposed to support you in what you're doing. Yes, there's a level of catering. There's submissiveness. Yes, those things do go into it. But that doesn't make her a true feminine, because she irons your clothes and cooks your food and she lets you do what you want to do. That doesn't mean that's not what femininity, that's not the entire thing about femininity. And again, that damsel in distress is really a codependent ass woman. But I digress. Some dudes want to save them. And some of these women don't want to be saved. Shout out to Dave Cole. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. And again, you guys start crying in your feelings when she leaves you for the next guy that got a check, or he could do what you no longer could do, because that you picked from ego. Again, back to the Jezebel spirit. That one is dangerous. And the reason why that's so dangerous is because they could play such a role of purity, and they project and they attack people, but they attack it in a way that they throw their stones and they hide their hands. And because men want to feel like they're protectors and providers, it's always someone's picking on my woman and I gotta go save her, and she over here stirring up all the drama. Let me tell you how Jezebel is dangerous for your business. Let's say your wife has a Jezebel spirit, right? And she manipulates, she, causes fear, right? And discouragement. She's sexually immoral, right? She teaches false doctrines, which we'll get into that. I'm going to have more information. Shout out to Mark the Messenger, because he really goes into detail on how to spot these behaviors. He's eccentric, but it's true. Okay. They love men in leadership positions, but it's not what you think. They love men who are weak in leadership positions so that they can take over. And how is this dangerous for your business? If your mate has a Jezebel spirit and you're building your empire, she's gonna have a problem with every woman you work with. She's gonna make it seem like, oh, I sense something, I feel something. She'll try to be everything to you. Like, she wanna be your accountant, she wanna be your assistant, she wanna be everything to you. Now, there are some people, some couples that do work together in business and they help each other. But I'm talking about women who hold this spirit that use manipulation and accusation, and they hide behind their purity to get the competition, what they perceive as competition, out the way. And she's sinking your business because she's giving you poor advice, because she don't want nobody else to have access to the bank. She don't want nobody. And some women, well, I'm protecting my territory. Well, you need to take a closer look at yourself and your intentions and why you're doing it. Because all of this goes back to the intentions of a woman. It's one thing if she sees your partner ain't shit. It's another if she's telling you he ain't shit so that she could be in control. And as a man, you're like, okay. You know, I got some good nookie and she said I should do this. Well, I'm going to do what she says, or I'm not going to get any nookie, or, you know, she done, you know, nookied you into a coma, so now you got brain fog and you can't think for yourself. You really need to study that. And also, too, because you don't want to hire one. They're destructive. They run off good team players because of the manipulation, because of the lies, because of the throwing of stones and hiding their hands. And because they act so well in these positions and in this mask, it takes such a long time for that mask to crack that by the time it does crack, you've lost so much. And then you're going to sit back and reflect and be like, damn, I did see that sign. Damn, I did see that sign. That's because you ignored your intuition. That's because you ignored red flags. We preach all the time to our daughters not to pick ain't shit men, but we never talk to our sons and the men in our family to tell them stop picking ain't shit women and how to recognize them. We do. We do. But what nobody's talking about is sometimes that mama ain't shit. She wasn't raised right. So how is she going to pass certain knowledge on to you? Or she didn't heal from her traumas and the things that she had from past relationships and things in her childhood. I had another energy moment. If you listen, I know I was like, what is she doing? Well, I was running my 5 miles and I had the energy moment about mama's boys. Go back and listen to that, where I talked about how you're running to get advice from your mom and she done had toxic relationship after toxic relationship, and she's giving you advice from an unhealed place. And you're listening to her and you're not realizing that she's sabotaging you, because how dare you have love that she did not have? But because that's your mama and she's playing a role of sweet and baby, let me cook you some fried chicken and some mashed potatoes and let me hear your problems, and you're telling her your problems. You don't know what's in her heart. And I'm not saying every mama is like that. Please do not come for me with that. I'm the ones that this applies to, this message applies to. If your mama is healed and she gives great advice and she has great wisdom, then this energy moment ain't for you. You just here because you want to hang out with me, and thank you too. And if you're a troll, thank you too. Like, I'm not offended. I appreciate you being here too, because it says more about you than me. If you're giving me time and you hate me, that has nothing to do with me. I'm really good at transmuting negative energy. I'm grateful. I'm always in gratitude. Okay? All right. Anywho, when you are dealing again with this damsel in distress and the codependency with that, right? And you're in a codependent relationship, it's going to feel unrequited. You're going to always feel like you're giving and getting nothing in return. And why are you going to feel like that? Because she has nothing to give you. But because that other woman is self-sufficient and you don't feel needed, that's your ego talking to you. Your woman is your helpmate. If you fucked up, she need to be able to roll her sleeves and say, baby, how can I help you? And not talk to you crazy when she's trying to help you. But some of y'all don't listen, and y'all only operate with a woman talking to you crazy, and then y'all begin to resent that. But that's another conversation for another day. I'm talking about at hand. Codependency relationships turn into unrequited relationships, where you're always giving and giving and giving because she's needy. She's always taking. If you look at toxic femininity, and then you look at, gold diggers and pregnancy traps and, sex to coerce you and convince you to do what you're doing. Like, some women withhold sex to get their way, and some women give sex to get their way. Sex is spiritual. It's your intention while you're having it. Yeah, I know I'm popping shit about sex. I'm single, celibate. Like, it's spiritual. You gotta look at sex a different way. If you just looking at it in 3D, you gonna keep attracting these monsters. Let me shut up for now. But back to the codependency and feeling like the caretaker, right? Look at high vibing behaviors in women and low vibing behaviors in women, and then start taking stock. Okay? Start really looking at it. And some of y'all, I don't know. I'll tell you like this. When you looking at Jezebel spirit women and excuse me, throat chakra, they trying to shut a girl up. When you look at Jezebel spirited women and you look at the damsel in distress, tell that woman no, or set a boundary and see how she acts. If you tell her, I need time to myself and I need to be alone because I got some things I'm working out, and you create the boundary, like, hey, I need some time, give me a week to myself. You're dating, give me a week to myself. I'll tap in with you, but I need some time to get myself together, right? I need time to work things out. So you created a boundary. When you try to set that boundary, she gonna become resentful, or she gonna do her best to, be a habitual line stepper over that boundary. That's a form of control, or attempt to control. When you ask for certain things from these types of women, they make you feel like you're asking for too much. You can't never have your own space because she can't be alone. And the abandonment issue is another thing. That's like an entire energy moment that I don't want to get into it. I got to be in a mood to talk about abandonment issues. But you need your own space. And she's okay, look at your man cave. You say, baby, this is my place. I need this place so I can be in my man cave and recharge. But every time you turn around, she's in your space. Like, damn, I done gave you 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. I only asked for the basement. Okay. You routinely got to cancel your plans to be with her and to go with her. Yes, there's a level of giving your woman attention. There's a level of spending time with her. But if you got to stop who you are because she don't want you hanging with this person, she don't want you, again, that's a fine line, because again, it goes back to intention. A healed woman may see, or a woman that's in healing, she may see something that you don't see in that friend or that friend group or that relative or that person, and she's trying to warn you. She should be able to communicate it to you and tell you why, versus, I don't like them, I just feel a certain way. Because those types of women, the damsel in distress and the Jezebel spirit, they will alienate you from the people that that care about you, so that they can do their most destructive shit, which is play on your psyche. And then you, a whole man in an abusive ass relationship, and you don't even realize you're being manipulated and emotionally abused. And she's using her emotions and she's using her femininity to manipulate you to get her way, and that shit is destroying you. You want to know how you'll know? Look at the fruit. Go read Matthew 7 in the Bible and look at false prophets. You want to know how you know a false prophet? Look at the bearing of their fruit. Is their fruit chaotic? If she's innocent and she's this and she's that, but her life is full of chaos and drama, that's not alignment. Something's not right there. You might need to dig deeper. You're anxious. You're not at peace in your spirit, in your soul. If you want to take time for yourself and self-care, and that feels selfish, you want to change, and then some of y'all want to really make hoes into housewives. I don't know, this has been the old age rule. Stop doing that, y'all. Stop doing that. Stop getting God. Like, seriously, really learn to control your sexual nature and look at that person for who she is. Because she's going to show you she's selfish. Because if you constantly giving and giving and giving, and if she can't have your back and give in return, that's not an equally yoked relationship anyway. When you fall on hard times and she get missing, that's not an equally yoked relationship. I don't know, y'all. This is just food for thought. You know, this is food for thought. I'm gonna give you something, my top 10 on narcissistic mothers. And when you look at narcissistic mothers, and these are my top 10, right? Love is conditional. You're being guilt-tripped to get what you want. Obsessed with maintaining a family image. Okay, that's the best one. You guys are unhappy at each other's throat, but you want to look good for the gram. They put you down and lower your confidence. Your woman is supposed to build you up. She tells you when you're wrong, but she tells you in a loving way. She tells you in a nurturing way. Baby, you did that wrong. You shouldn't have handled that situation the way you did. I see why you handled that situation like that, but that may not have been the best thing, don't you think? Nah, why the fuck you ain't listening to what I got to say? You so hard-headed. You know, women will talk about that, how you talk to your man. You gotta learn how to talk to your man to get what you want. And that's not manipulation. And men have feelings too. No man want, you know, Narcissistic mothers are neglectful and they're never present when needed, right? They always want you to take care of them. They feel a sense of entitlement. I gave birth to you. You should take care of me. You should pay my bills because I gave birth to you. You ain't asked to be here, bro. They're codependent. Your narcissistic mother can be codependent, which is why men will pick women with these same attributes because their mother displayed these same attributes. Okay? Narcissistic mothers are allowed to be emotional, but you're not. So there you go with men that are constantly masking their emotions and burying it deep inside of them instead of being able to communicate and say, nah, this hurt my feelings. I don't like how you make me feel. You know, they have poor boundaries and they overstep yours. They expect you to play the role of the caregiver. So if you go back and listen to that message when I talked about how, you know, women, your mother, she need to get her own man. Like, yeah, y'all are under the son husband curse. You are not your mother's husband, okay? You're her son. It's a difference, all right? You can take care of your mom and do for your mom, but again, your mom is still her own woman. And because she doesn't have a man in her life does not mean you need to be her husband. And they gaslight you. We're going to talk about gaslighting in another energy moment. And let me tell you why that's happening, why I want to do that. Because gaslighting and narcissistic behaviors, like, you have to spot these things, because this is also a part of people management in the boardroom. I'm giving you this advice about women, but I'm also giving you this advice because if you recognize these traits in women, not just the woman that you dealing with, so she doesn't fucking sabotage your empire, then you won't hire or bring another woman on your team that can sabotage your team. You have a woman on your team, but it's always mess. It's always, God don't bless no mess. It's always chaos. It's always drama. And not saying that chaos and drama doesn't happen in business, but wherever, it's always a problem. It's always a problem. And that can be twofold, guys. That can be twofold. Because, there are people that, for example, in business, I recognize bullshit and I call it out, and that's not a popular opinion. I get into it because I mean what I say. And I can be stern. But then there's people that are messy. They're just messy. And you gotta look at it. I'm gonna put additional links to other YouTubers and other resources so that you could really tap into what I'm saying. And I hope that it educates you and gives you good insight. And if you like my vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Check out the description for more information about Boardroom Savages and me, the Boardroom Savage. And I'm not going to always be talking about Damsel in Distress and Jezebel spirits, because I got a lot of other, lessons that I want to communicate with you guys about business, and also just dealing with people in business. Because money management is one thing, but people management is an entirely different thing. And I want to make sure that I get messages to you that will assist you and help you, so that as you're climbing your Jacob's ladder and you're building your business, like, hopefully some of these lessons that I've learned along the way will, be your blessing. All right? As always, Boardroom Savage. I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.